Good afternoon. How are we? Hope we are all well. I'm just going to check that we are live. It's saying we are, but I don't believe anything Facebook tells me anymore. Yeah, we're there. So we can go away from that one. Hello. I hope you're all well. Excuse the hair. I've not long had a shower and it's just dried as it is. So the weather's gone. That beautiful weather we were having has gone. No, it's not been too bad today actually. I do have doors and windows open. We sat out and had a little cup of tea earlier. Right, so what do I have to tell you? Stampin' Rewards. You may have noticed lots of people advertising about Stampin' Rewards because they've changed. Whereas before you only got Stampin' Rewards on a larger order, they've changed it now. So it's like, for want of a better explanation, Tesco Club card. There are other cards out there. Whereas you accumulate points for how much you spend. So for every £20 that you spend, you get 10%, I believe. But you gain your rewards. I did know the figures. I had it all in my head and now it's all gone. But yeah, anyway, so when you first sign in, make sure you're shopping with me. And then you'll be asked about joining the rewards scheme. You've got nothing to lose. You really haven't. You can save them up. They have an expiry date, but you can save them up and then use them towards a bigger project if you wanted to. But yeah, just wanted to make sure that you're aware you have to opt in. If you opt out, whoever you're shopping with, so if I'm not your demonstrator and you haven't chosen me, you've chosen your demonstrator, they will get the rewards. So they don't go to waste. So it depends whether you're going to be doing lots of shopping or if it's an occasional and it's not worth you having them because you won't use them in time, then that's entirely up to you. You can not bother and let your demonstrator have them. So yeah, right. You may have seen I have catalogues. Catalogues are in the house. They are ready. They are looking for their new homes. I've got these together now. So if you don't currently have a demonstrator or you're a customer of mine and you would like a catalogue, let me know and I'll get one out to you. If you have shopped with me in the last 12 months, there's one with your name on anyway. So, but yeah, just drop me a message or just comment and I'll get one sorted for you. Excuse me. Oh gosh, still got my sinus issues. So yeah, right. So this week I have been sharing the Along the Lines stamp set. This is a stamp set that I received as my prize patrol at on stage in Strasbourg. I wasn't enamoured when I received it. I was like, what on earth am I going to do with that? But there are some beautiful little images in there. And I've made some progress with it. It hasn't been the easiest, I have to say. But, you know, I've been putting out there stuff for you. So today, because of that, I thought, you know what, we will use this to create our cards, but we'll have a look at some backgrounds. Creating our own backgrounds. Different ways that we can do that. May get a little messy today because I've got my re-inkers out. But I thought, you know, we can have a bit of a play. So we all know that we can use designer CF paper to make backgrounds. We all know we can emboss, dry emboss with an embossing folder, which creates a lovely pattern background. We all know we can tone on tone stamp to create a background, and there's many other ways, but I wanted to go that little bit further in creating our backgrounds. So what I'm going to do first is just bring in, I've got some pre-cut first layer size. So these are 10 by 14.4. Excuse my nails. I did some painting with acrylic paints and I have scrubbed them, but because my fingers are quite dry, I'm finding it difficult to get it off. So I'm sorry about that, but I'm sure they'll be even more inky by the end of this. And first of all, I thought we'd have a play with some alcohol, rubbing alcohol in a spray bottle or one of our spritzers. I got my alcohol off Amazon. You can get it from many places, but it's the 99.98% isopronolol that's the better or similar. So yeah, we're going to have a go with that and with our markers, our blends. Sorry, not our markers, our blends. And this is a technique I did not that long ago, to be honest, but I thought, you know what, just showing that this is what you can do. I'm just going to grab some blocks. I've got 3 different size blocks. Well, in fact, I might bring this one in as well. I'm quite high up. Now I have got wipes ready. So I'm going to grab some colours. And what colours shall we use? We could use the outgoing ink colours while we still have them. We shall use them. They're not going to be around for that much longer. And we'll have a bit of a play with this. So we'll create backgrounds and then we'll go on to creating some cards with our backgrounds. So we're going to go for the dark boho blue. And I'm going to use this H block. You could use any block that you've got. And I am just going to, you probably can't see very well, but I'm just going to colour it in. So I'm just laying down some colour. Now I'm going over a couple of times just to build the colour a little bit. Now it does wipe off what's underneath, sort of, it moves it. And being alcohol markers, they do dry quite quickly. So that's not a problem because we're going to be adding alcohol to it. But once you've put this on, you need to move quite quick to get it where you want it. So I'm just going to give that 4 sprays so that we've got it wet. And then I'm going to lift it and pop it straight down on there. Just let that soak in a little bit. And then we can lift it off. And we've got a nice coloured oblong on our piece of paper and card. Right. Shall we do? I don't know whether that one may be a bit big. No, we'll go with that one. But I'm going to do this one in wild wheat. Now again, I'm going to colour it in, or add colour to the block. I'm not colouring it in, am I? Add colour to the block. Now this one tends to colour a bit better, or you can see it a bit better. So I'm totally the wrong direction, and I am going to overlap. That's the thing, if you spray this in the wrong direction, it just evaporates. Okay, so we've got that. Just give that a bit of a wipe. And then I'm going to go for Moody Mauve. And I'm using the dark of each of these. I'll just add colour to that block again. I think this is a good technique to use. You know, if you've been given a challenge that's a colour combo. Because you can just add it. You're right, Hayden. Okay. So we've got that. Wow, look, I put a lot more on that, and I've got more of a solid colour. In fact, it doesn't look solid on there on the screen because it looks like it's missing all that. That is actually coloured in real life, but that's okay. And then for our final colour, I'm going to go Pebbled Path. Add the colour to the block again. And then we'll spritz that with our alcohol. Hayden's been cornered by the dog, so she can't go anywhere. Dog wants fuss. There we go. How beautiful is that? And it's very quick. I mean, I know. Hi, Ethan. You're all right, mate? My chair's fell down. It took me longer than if you were doing it or if I was just doing it on my own. But yeah, it's a real quick way to create a background. And now you could leave that, and all you'd need is a sentiment if you wanted to. But we'll do something with that after. So that's using alcohol markers and the alcohol spray. All right, for our next background, this is all going to be quite experimental. Because I thought we'll use some Rinkas, and I'm going to use, Ethan says it's fine, got gardeners in front garden with leaf blowers doing rewetting. That's all right, I've got neighbours flattening their garden, so they've got shovels digging. So, and the other side's doing something as well. They were right there. I think they've all gone for lunch now, so it's nice and quiet. But no, I'm fine, thank you. Thank you very much. So we've got a baby wipe that I have left out, so it's partly dried. And I am going to add some Rinkas to this. A few drops. So I've got Pool Party, I've got Calypso Coral and Lemon Lime Twist. Just the quite springy type colour. So we're just going to put a couple of drops of each, 2 or 3 drops of each. I'm not sure these wipes are the best for this, actually. Now, because our inks are water based, we can add water to it and spread it. Good to hear, Auntie. Love your stuff. Keep going. Bless you, mate. Thank you. Right, so I'm just going to spritz this with water just to make them run into each other a little bit. There we go. And then I'm going to pop this down on my piece of background card, and then we can use a block to just push it down. And again, I'm just going to wet it again. And we can do that again. I'll do it again, but without re-wetting. One more there. As I say, I'm just playing. There's probably many different ways you can get a similar effect, but I just wanted to have a bit of a play and see what we could create. You can see how much ink is still coming off there just by pressing down. There we go. That will do. Taking Bear to the beach. Oh, have a lovely time. Bye. But look at that. How gorgeous is that? Or pop that one to one side to dry as well. Now that's mine. Grab. These are alcohol wipes left from COVID. So I just wipe that and that will get everything off. Try and get it off my fingers. Right, I'm going to do something quite similar, but I'm going to use watercolour card. I'm going to do a whole sheet of watercolour card. It's just another way of adding colour to create a background. So, I'm wondering whether to do it on here. No, I'm going to grab my glass mat. Now we might end up with too much glare for this, but we'll see. It might be okay. Hopefully it'll be okay. Just my glass mat will protect my surface, and that's okay. We can cope with that. Luckily, that ring light casts its glare right where my paper's going to be. So I'm going to wet with water, just spritz over just to dampen my card, or you could use a brush and paint water over it. I'm going to use the same colours because I like those, and I'm just going to drop Calypso Coal is quite a strong colour. In fact, they're all quite strong when they concentrate. I'll just add lemon lime twist and some pool party. Now we might need to add some more, but that's okay, we can do that. Thing is, we don't want to add too much and then think, oh, wish I hadn't have added all that, because we can't take it off. Right, so now I'm going to grab my pokey tool and just hold that down a bit so that everything doesn't run. I'm going to spray from above. Just keep spraying it so it runs. Now, as you can see, the pool party soaked in a lot quicker than the other. I'm keeping hold of that because I don't want it to pop back up. There we go. And then we can add some more pool party now that it's quite saturated. You can add it on top somewhere different. Okay, and we'll just spritz again to get that flowing. Oh, I love that. I'm just going to grab a bit more lime twist. Like I say, I'm playing. I think that would be enough, to be honest. I think I'm happy with how that's looking. It's still spreading, which it will for quite a while. I'm just going to let it soak in a bit before I start to dry it, because I don't want too much of it running. I want to keep it quite blobby. So the more I let it soak in, the better it'll be at doing that. Alright, so I'm going to grab my heat tool and I'm going to hold it quite a way away and dry. Like I say, I don't want to start blowing it everywhere. It is going to take a while to dry, but you can see how it's coming. And it has nearly soaked up all the water that's on it. So I am going to go quite close now and dry it. Right, so let's just move this and we will wipe our mat so that we're not drying all the paint, all the water that's an ink that's underneath. Okay, right, I'll dry this. Just so we don't get it everywhere. There we go. That's not dry, nowhere near. But it's dry enough now for me to leave on one side without getting everything disgusting, she says. But yeah, I can just pop that to one side and let that dry. That's still quite wet on that edge. As long as it doesn't transfer, that's better. And now I know there's some edges that aren't the best, but we can sort them out when we cut it down, when we make our cards. I'm going to do a similar one, if not the same, but using different colours. So we'll grab another piece of watercolour. And we'll spritz it again. And I am going to do this one differently, actually. I'm running out of water. Didn't think I'd use this much water. Right, so I'm going to get Blackberry Bliss, Real Red, and Shaded Spruce. Right, and let's see. I might bring in a crushed curry. Right, so Blackberry Bliss. Oh, because that is such a gorgeous colour. And I've totally missed there. But that's okay, we can pick it up. Shaded Spruce. And I'm going to bring in crushed curry instead. Right. And I think I'm out of water, but we'll see. Right, now this is going to be quite different with the colours and with moving it. And I'm getting filthy. Right, I need more water. I have got a little jar of water. Like I said, this is all about playing. I'm going to chuck water at it. Surprising how much water this Fluid 100 takes. Right, let's see how we go with that. I'm going to get filthy. But I want to do a bit of that. And then I'm going to add some more ink. On. And I'm going to tip it. Tip some off. Right, and then I'm going to use my heat tool to blow it. And we need more water on there again. Wow. It's just soaking it all in. But that's okay. We'll get there. I'm getting very messy, and that's good. Help it along a little bit there. What I am going to do is that. Just to take some of that extra away. Now, if you don't like messy crafting, then yeah, this perhaps isn't the technique for you. I don't mind getting messy. If I've got in mind that I'm going to be messy, that's okay. And I did today. I'll move those. See, it would have absolutely ruined my mat, my surface. Right, that's the back. I think the back's not unpretty. I'll give that a dry. And obviously you get a total different effect whether you heat dry it or just leave it to dry. It's more intense where it is if you dry it with heat. Like that probably would have dispersed if I'd have dried it naturally. Right, so there we go. That's another one of those. So now I think we need to create some cards, don't we? So let me have a tidy up and clean all this mess away. Because we don't want, if we're going to be making cards, we don't want everything all over them. put my lid on my water. Like I say, I always keep a pot of water on my desk. Just a little jar for times like this. Right, then let's grab the white. Just knock things on the floor. Give that a wipe off. And glass mat's perfect for doing things like this because, yeah, it just wipes. Pop that away. Oh, right. And I will give my hands a bit of a clean. I think I need more than one wipe, but I'll get the majority of it off. Alright, and then if I dry them, hopefully no more will come off. That tea towel can go in the wash. Put that in there. Okay, right, so we're ready. Finish my tea. Let's create some cards. And we're going to use along these lines. So our first one is this, which is quite a simple geometric, which I love, or I would love just on its own. I think that's fabulous on its own, just with a sentiment. But let's have a look at which image we could use. See, I'd like the rose up there, but it would have been better if that was pink or the moody mauve. But I'm thinking I could put a heart in there. And just have that. And how simple would that be? Hi, Sue. You've just got home from work. Oh, excellent. We've been messy crafting, and we've been making backgrounds. So this one was using the Stampin Blends alcohol markers, and colouring a block, and then spritzing it with alcohol and stamping with the block. Then we used some inks on a baby wipe and printed it all over our background paper. And then we've been going wild with water and ink and created those. And now we're just making some cards from them. And we're using the Along These Lines stamp set, which I have admitted isn't my favourite, but we're going with it. I like that on there. I think that on there, just stamped in a pebbled path, would look nice. So I'm going to do that first. So I want my stamping mat. And then, so have you broke up for the holidays then, Sue? Like a long weekend. Well, you don't work Fridays anyway, do you? Just remembered. All right, so we're just going to stamp in pebbled path on there for that. See, I really like that. That's cute. And I think we could add a sentiment then. And I don't want to put nothing else on it. Yes, a week off now. No work Fridays. Yeah, excellent. Oh, interesting what you can. It is, isn't it? You know, finding out different ways of using things. Like I said at the beginning that, you know, there's that many different ways of creating backgrounds. You can more or less do anything. But I just wanted to get messy, really. Right, so I'm going to bring in the Simply Said, which is somewhere on my shelf. This one's a great little one for just simple sentiments. And I think we're going to have How Would Birthday Wishes. guess what? I've already got a happy birthday done. So I think I'm going to go with that, being as it's in the pebbled path anyway. And that's what we're using. That one's a bit better. I like that. Right. Now, I haven't got a pebbled path card base. I'm pretty certain I used my pebbled path card. Oh, what's that? Oh, no. But we can have a layer behind it and then on a white card base. So that's okay. So let me trim this down. Put the lid on that. Put that out of the way. I'm just going to trim this down. I'm just going to take 0.5 centimetre off the top. It's not off each side. And then off this side, because that's very close. I don't want to chop that. So we'll take 0.5 centimetre off there. Which means then, if I cut this to our standard layer size, it's a bit battered that end, which is 14.4 by 10. I think I'm going to have to go and bleach my fingers because it's all in my nails. That'll give us a nice border on there. So I'll add that on there. Snip that straight down. This is just going to be simple. Could you emboss it as well? You could emboss it, yeah. Yeah. That'd be a good idea. So I'm just going to tag the ends of this. Well, I say tag. I'm just going to cut them at an angle like so. And that's on there. I'm going to pop that on dimensionals. Somewhere I have some mini dimensionals. I am going to emboss, heat emboss, onto one of those brighter backgrounds. I had an idea that might look quite nice. I've got a nice large sentiment stamp set. Pop that there. I mean, you didn't have to use happy birthday. You could use anything you want. Let's celebrate. Right, white cardstock. I've just spotted my cat up on the roof of the bottom shed, hiding in the wisteria. Oh, that one's not very straight. I don't think we'll use that one. I think I've had that one out before, haven't I? And I haven't. My gosh, what's wrong with these? I was obviously having an off day when I was creating those. Not very straight. Right, so 10.5 lengthways, and we'll score 14.9 and cut. And that will give us 2 card bases. And I butt it up against this sticky up edge so I get it nice and straight, and then burnish it to get a nice neat fold. Then we'll just pop that on there. I'll pop that on flat. I was saying, Sue, the new catalogues are here. I've got one ready for you. It's already in the envelope addressed. So it'll probably end up in the post Saturday. There we go. How simple is that? But I think that looks gorgeous. That's one. So our next one, this is still wet. Dry this off. And normally you would leave these to dry a lot longer. You probably create them and then make cards with them the following day. Right, that'll do. So this one, because I've got it so wet and it's quite textured, I am going to dry emboss this one. So what embossing folders have I got? Good look. I've got a paint texture, a wood texture. I think I'm going to go paint texture, which is the plaster painting. Nice big embossing folder. Come on. That won't come out. Oh my gosh. There we go. That's that. How gorgeous is that? I'm just going to pop that in there. And then I'll get my large cut and emboss. And we'll get plates. So I need plate 1 and plate 4, I believe, for this. It tells us on here. Yeah, 3D embossing folders is plate 1 and plate 4. So I'll just run that through. This machine is so easy to use. So smooth. I mean, my Mini, as you know, I use most of the time. I love it. But it's nowhere near as smooth running as that. Okay. So that's give that lots of texture. How cool is that? Right, so we're going to want... Now, before I embossed it, I was thinking of trimming it down because I thought it needed it. Now I've embossed it, it doesn't. I think it's okay that there's all this odd white. So we'll have that. And then, using this, I'm going to struggle here. Oh, maybe the bike. Hi, Cat. You forgot the time. Don't worry. Love the embossing. Makes it stand out. It does, doesn't it? It's surprising what just adding some texture can do. We've been playing with inks and that today, Cat, making backgrounds. Now, I'm not going to stamp it direct on here because I would have had to have done that before I embossed it. So what I'm going to do is a technique similar to what I've shown online. I think it was today it went out. And I'm going to stamp it on just basic white. So we'll use this one. Let's grab a block that will fit on. I'll grab my piercing mat, which I've had and now I can't find. There it is. This one I made using inks and water on a baby wipe and then stamping with the baby wipe to create the background. Right, so I'm going to do this in Memento and black ink. Do I want black? No, I'm going to use basic grey. It's not quite so harsh. Excuse me leaning over. I want a piece of stamp. I mean, I try not to stamp on my piercing mat, but it doesn't always work out. I'll ink that up and I'm going to pop that down out there. So it's just above the bottom. Then in here we have some extender lines. So we have a small one and a larger one. And we're going to use those to extend the lines from the bike, because these images are all created with one line, just one continuous line. Let's get that straight. Okay, and then we can line that up. Sorry if I go out of shot here, but I need to make sure I line it up properly, or if you get my head in shot, I do apologize. And then the same with the long one. We'll just pop that on there and then finish off that little bit with the small one again. There we go. So we've got a continuous line all the way across. It's not perfect, but it's not meant to be. Right, so we'll close that. And then I'm going to fussy cut this out. I'll just leave a little bit of a border, a little bit of a border around it. I used to hate fussy cutting until I practiced and I was told, move your paper to the card, not the scissors. I mean, obviously you do move them a little bit, but it's a card doing most of the turning. Then we'll just go down here. And the fact that it's not perfectly straight I like, because I can't cut in a straight line to save my life. Alright, then we'll just go in here and take off that bit in there. I'm not going to do all inside the image. Chop that. There we go. We'll save that. Right, so we can then add that on there like that. Oh, put glue all the way along because of it being embossed. I need to make sure that it's sticking all the way. And then we can just pop that on there. This is very similar, well, it's a similar idea to the one I've already shown with the puppy, I think it was. You've seen that one, if it went out yesterday. And then I'm just going to trim that to there. All right, we'll have a card base. We can use any colour card base that we've used. Pool party maybe? Or shall we go a nice bright? No, we'll go nice bright. No, we won't, because I haven't got much of that. I'm going to say lemon lime. Oh, I have lemon lime twist. I haven't got much of it. Let's see what this looks like. Don't know if you perhaps lose some of the effect. Oh, I don't know. No, we'll go lemon lime twist. I don't do enough coloured card bases. I want to do more, so that's what we'll do. Score at 10.5, cut at 14.9, butt and fold, and burnish. Okay, I don't normally do them this way, do I, for this landscape cards? I normally do it the other way, but that's okay. Right, we'll glue that on. Again, plenty of glue because it's embossed. And then you'll have to hold it down for it to grab. Don't know what that's rocking. I've never had my desk rock like that before. Right, so that's that one. And we could have any sort of sentiment on there, but I'm not going to put one on. I'm going to leave it blank because I feel it could be used for lots of different things and people can make their own mind up what they'd like to pop on that. Right, so we've now got these. I'm going to do this one because we're running out of time. So I'm going to do this one first because it's darker. I think it'll work better. No way. I will do this one. Finished drying it off. And this one was done with the ink refills and water on watercolour paper. Nearly done. Didn't realise how much water I'd popped on here. I'm burning my fingers. Right. So I'm going to trim this down because it's way too big. But first I'm going to add my sentiment to it, and I'm going to emboss it, and I'm going to emboss it in black. Yeah. Right. The dog's decided to come and sit. Move that for the dog. Right. Just using my embossing buddy over it so that it dries off any last bits, as well as stops any static or greasy bits off my fingers, so we can emboss it. Right, so let's grab the stamp set, and it's the Layered Thoughts stamp set. And I'm going to go with Happy Birthday. I think nice bright Happy Birthday on there in the middle. Then I can trim it down to fit. Get my block. Not Memento. I need Versamark. Okay. Make sure we've got plenty on, with it being on a uneven surface. And get the Stampin piercing mat underneath, and then give it a real good push down to make sure that Versamark gets onto that paper. There we go. Right, black embossing powder. I've got in here a piece of card. I did have, there we go, that I use my embossing powder. I'll pop this on here and shake it on. Hopefully it should only stick where our Versamark is, because of drying it and then using the embossing buddy. There we go, flick off the excess, and then we tip that back in. We don't waste it. Pop the lid on, one so we don't knock it over, and two so it doesn't get hot and melt. Now there is some that's stuck down here, so I'm just going to grab a brush, and if you knock it, it loosens it away, and then you can normally just blow it off. There we go. Right, let's heat this, and this will melt. See, I don't know if you can see, it's quite bitty at the moment, but it'll melt and go shiny. Unfortunately, it's not a technique you can show very well on camera, but I love it. There we go. So we've got our Happy Birthday that being embossed really shows up well. Right, so I'm going to trim this down. We could make a larger card if we wanted, but I'm going to stick to creating our normal. So we want that 10. So I want that. I'm lining up halfway in here with the 5 centimeters because I want that to be around the middle. I'll just do that. And then we can cut that at 10. And then that's about halfway. And 14.9, so it's 7.5 thereabouts. Is it? 7's 14. 7 1/4, somewhere like that. Okay, you really must try heat embossing. You must. I will do some. I haven't got it planned in for Tuesday's class because Tuesday's class is card making, and that's already planned. I haven't got it on there. I don't think I could put it in with what I've got set, but I can definitely put it in for the following month. So for May's class. Right, now with that we need a colour. We could again go lemon lime twist because it's the same colour, but I don't think that helps it stand out. I'm wondering white. I quite like the white, or black. Let's bring a black. I think this is a bit of an odd sized piece. Yeah, but you can see I like the white. So we'll go white. Okay, I'm just going to use my trimmer to line that up. So can feel all the embossing powder. Right, and again, lots of glue, or plenty of glue. Lots of glues alive. We don't need lots of this glue, but plenty of glue because it's been wet and warped, and it is watercolour card. And just pop that in the middle there. You can see all the black embossing powder on here, but that's, perhaps you can't. That's okay because I can rub that off after and get my rubber on it. There, that one. And then we want to embellish, so we need some embellishments on that. Right, what have we got? I might have actually still some in here. Retiring, but see, they would really show up and blingy. Wrong colours. Nope. Nope. Oh, them pool party ones. Let's just see if these pool party ones, what they would look like. Actually, they don't look too bad, do they, at all? Yeah, so I'll have some of those. I'll have 5 of those. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. There we go. That's 5 of those. Right. This one I'm not going to embellish because of putting a sentiment on, because I think that'll make a great, like if someone's going on a trip or something like that. So we've done 3 cards. I'm going to stop there because of the time. I don't like going much over the hour. But that just shows you how different things can be. Where's my last piece? But yeah, you don't always need something you've purchased for your backgrounds. You can make your own backgrounds, and they're all very different, just by using different colours. But have a go. Yeah, at the end of the day, it's a piece of paper. If you don't like it, you can throw it in the bin. But something I would suggest when you've done it, even if you're thinking, walk away, leave it for another day, come to it, and you might think, actually, you know what? I could do so and so with that. Well, that is nice. Trust the process, as Kat always says, if she's still listening. But yeah, I'm really happy with how those have turned out. I will do that one, probably along the same lines as that one, so that the background is the main feature. But I might emboss that one in white. Maybe. We'll see. But yeah, I'm really happy with it. I think that one's my favourite. I'm saying that was my favourite, and I've got you on the other camera, haven't I? Yeah, I think that one's my favourite. I am so going to miss these colours. But yeah, right. Thank you very much for joining me. Don't forget, if you're watching on the replay, leave a comment. If you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment and a thumbs up. That would be brilliant. And I'm going to go now and try and get my hands clean. And I might see you later if you're available, 7:30, for scrapbook page. Should be using the along these lines stamp set. Might make some well, I always create backgrounds for that, don't I? So yeah, we'll be creating backgrounds again. Not sure if I'll be getting quite so inky. So yeah, thanks very much for joining, and hope you all have a lovely Easter. Speak to you soon. Bye.